knew that winning here would be a monumental challenge, and we experienced some adversity. We haven't let up a point since Fairfield Prep, right? So when we did, our mentality is next play. Our mentality is next play. We don't flinch. We get stronger as the game goes on, and our kids made some plays down the stretch.
Can you feel it, like everything's starting to come together now?
Yeah, we figured out what we got wrong last year. We made our adjustments. And I think a lot of it had to do with how much people worked in the offseason.
The teamwork, the bond, and just like the fight we have this season. We didn't want to have a rerun of last season, go 1-9. And this team, I'm very proud of this team right now. We're fighting every quarter. We're fighting, and that's really it. We're just going to playoffs.
Coach Miller did a great job getting the locker room right. When he say that, he just means the connection, the brotherhood. It all starts in the locker room, and then from day one, we established that, and then now, we champions.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Meat Grinder, your weekly dose of high school football in Connecticut. And this is it. We have reached the Thanksgiving extravaganza finale, cornucopia, whatever you want to call it. We have reached the end of the regular season, the greatest, in my opinion, greatest week in the Connecticut sporting calendar. That includes UConn, that includes the game, Yale, Harvard, that includes anything that happens sporting-wise in Connecticut. Thanksgiving week and day, especially when while the turkey's roasting in the oven, you head out to your favorite Thanksgiving Day game, see all your friends that you haven't seen, all your alumni and graduates and family members, and get to see everybody, watch some great football, and then go home with the family and get all the turkey and stuffing and all that stuff. So you have two main courses. You have football course, and then you have your turkey later on. And then all the playoff points and all the scenarios and all that good stuff. It is a great week. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, never, ever get rid of Thanksgiving week. I'm, of course, your host, Sean Patrick Boley. With me, as always, is Pete Paguaga. Petey, how are you?
Good. I'm excited. I love me. It's really exciting to get up for a holiday weekend like Columbus Day. It just really gets the blood going, these great matchups. I just can't wait to get out to the games on Thursday morning and Wednesday night and maybe potentially Tuesday night.
Did you mean to say Columbus Day?
No, I'm just preparing for future seasons.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, imagine that. You're waking up. It's like waking up Columbus Day. All right. Or is it Indigenous Peoples Day, by the way?
I don't even know. Some people have that day off. Some people don't have that day off. I don't know how it works.
But I think that's kind of like where we're going. I imagine getting up that day and all right, week 3 or whatever.
I'm just saying, if they move it to Columbus Day, like I want the games at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I don't want Columbus Day 7 o'clock at night games. I want to be done by 1 o'clock.
Well, remember, here's the thing about that though. Isn't that like that's not always a Friday or Saturday, right? It's like during the week. It's
I think it's a Monday. I thought it was a Monday.
But it's like that weekend. So it's like
Monday morning games, 10 o'clock. You get the kids out from school. Yeah. It's like it's like a what do they have in the middle of the day when they don't have to go to class?
Recess?
No, not recess. They go to like the auditorium.
I don't know.
Oh, we haven't been in schools.
I've been in school in 30 years.
Just have them. I remember when I worked in Torrington, and Thomaston had to play a softball and baseball. Both had home games, but there was no fence, so they had to play one earlier, and they just let everyone out of school. And they all just sat and watched the softball team play, and then they sat and watched the baseball team win. Yeah,
the middle of the season, too. That'd be
awesome.
Darien and Canaan. All right, let's see who goes to 5-1 or 3-1. It's better when they're both 8-0, 8-0, or whatever it is. They're this year they are 8-1, and what is it? What is Darien's record? I don't even know. 7-1 and or 8-1 and 6-3. And, when there's playoffs, the last game against your rival, that's when you got to play these games, not some, off game in the middle of October. Forget it. Again, this is the greatest day in the Connecticut sporting calendar. I love it. We all, can there be tweaks and maybe fixes? Here's one thing, everyone says, oh, well, there's not as many teams playing on Thanksgiving. Hey, listen, if you don't want to play on Thanksgiving, play the week before. Hall Connor, they don't play on Thanksgiving, and it's still pretty good. But it's still the last game of the season. That's really what this is about. It's the last game of the season. Then you add all the pageantry of,
homecoming used to be against good opponents, and then home teams realized we should have our homecoming when we're going to win. So let's schedule the worst opponent on our schedule. Yeah, so right. Things do change.
Right. Look, as long as you play it around this week, I know Brock will kill me. Anyway, so it is Thanksgiving week, Pete. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. We have all the games from last week to kind of set the table for playoff points. We'll dig into all that stuff. We're going to tell you who's in, who's out, and who needs to win to get in, and who needs win and bonus help and all that good stuff. Mike Fornabauer and I have been hard at work on that, and I want to thank Pete for helping us out by doing all the previews. You can see on GameTimeCT.com your Thanksgiving. If you play a Thanksgiving Day game this week or Thanksgiving week game, then you will have a preview. We have a bunch of stuff up there with all the playoff stuff. But we here at in YouTube land or wherever we're publishing this, we are going to have all the scenarios for you. We're going to break everything down. We're going to tell you exactly what you need and what to look for as the results come in this week. There's a lot of games going on. And then later on, where Pete and I this is the hybrid show for the second straight year. We're going to make this the hybrid show where we do the picks right after we run down what happened last week. So away we go. With only a handful of teams in the top 10 playing last week, there wasn't going to be a lot of changes, but one of the big games that did happen was Friday night at Fujitani Field, where number 8 Shelton traveled to play Wilton in one of the last Alliance games of the season over at Fujitani Field, and both teams were already pretty much in the playoffs by that point. So it was just kind of like to see where teams stood on their last game before the playoffs. And the Warriors capped off an 8-2 regular season with a thorough 28-7 victory over the number 8 ranked Gales. Led by Todd Woodring, the Warriors defense held Shelton to just 100 total yards of offense, most of which came on a 67-yard TD run by David Dodd Litko. Woodring scored on 3 one-yard TD runs, and with the season wrapped up, the Warriors now get to hang back and enjoy their Thanksgiving and see where they will play in the upcoming Class Double M tournament, possibly a North Haven rematch. We shall see. Shelton also in Class L. They get to see where they end up. Also some rematch potential going on there. So with Shelton losing, they drop out of the top 10, and after number 10, Cheshire, the big change was at number 9, where you think Wilton might slide in there, but no, it was actually Windsor, which just demolished rival Bloomfield, a game that they lost last year, and it wound up costing them a spot in the playoffs. But this time, Windsor, winners of 6 straight games going in, are ready to extract some revenge on Bloomfield. 53-28, my goodness. They scored 26 points in the third quarter to put that game away. Lots of guys did a lot of different things for the Warriors, but the main man was Damian Sparrow, who had 3 interceptions. Then he had Max Copeland, who caught 2 touchdown passes. John Manning ran for 179 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Sean Adams ran for 3 touchdowns, all in the third quarter, as Windsor dropped 26 points on Bloomfield in the third quarter to win going away. They are now 9-1 on a 7-game win streak, and they will get one of the top 2 seeds in Class L. After that, top 10 is pretty straightforward. And Sonia moves up to number 8. They play Naugatuck at Jarvis Field on Thanksgiving. Number 7 is Newtown. They face Masuk on Wednesday night. Number 6 is North Haven, which will get to defend its Class AA championship after beating Hamden 38-7 on Thursday night. This was just days after it was reported last week that the Department of Children and Families is investigating the athletic department concerning the incident of inappropriate student conduct, which caused the team to forfeit its Week 1 game against Darien. Now, the school said it had alerted DCF and the police department when they were reporting that initially to begin the year. DCF confirmed that it began its investigation November 1st. 2 days later, North Haven coach Tony Sagnella was suspended for 1 game and 5 days, and he was eventually allowed to return to coach the team to their victory over Hamden the following week. So North Haven goes into its Thanksgiving morning game versus Amity with a chance to maybe get a home quarterfinal. But as far as that other stuff concerns, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens there. Number 5 is Staples. They play Greenwich on Thanksgiving for a chance to be the number 1 seed in Class LL. Number 4 is New Canaan. They face Darien for a shot to get a home quarterfinal, maybe even a home semifinal in Class L. Number 3 is West Haven. They have a shot at the number 1 seed if Staples beats Greenwich on Thanksgiving Day. They play Fairfield Prep the night before. They got to beat Prep. Prep also with its designs on a state playoff spot. Number 2 is Maloney. They face Platt in the Stoddard Bowl Thursday morning for a chance to get a home game. There's a good shot they both might get home games in the first round of the Class L and Double M playoffs, and it might even be a doubleheader, CIAC said. So keep an eye on that. And finally, number 1 is Greenwich, still with 25 first-place votes. They face Staples for a chance to go for the number 1 overall seed in Class Double L. Now, all of those teams have unofficially clinched CIAC football playoff spots, and there are a bunch of other teams that did punch their tickets as of last week's results or last week's wins. So let's take a quick look at where we stand in the playoff races of the 6 divisions as we head into the final 3 days of the regular season. We'll go bottom up and just give you a real short rundown on how this works. If you want to know more, visit GameTimeCT to get all the scenarios. We will be updating them through every night throughout the week. So, just keep an eye on that. So, starting at Class S, 6 of 8 teams have clinched. Ansonia, Bloomfield, Oxford, Cromwell, Portland, Notre Dame, Fairfield, and Griswold Wheeler are all in. North Branford at 5-4, which got beat up by Cromwell Portland last week, still has a shot to get in. They must beat Coginchaug Co-op at Coginchaug on Wednesday night to punch their tickets. The other team that can win and get in is Stonington, which plays its legendary Thanksgiving Day game at home versus Westerly, Rhode Island. They are 6-3. They need to win and get in. Should either of those 2 teams falter, Woodland could get in with a win over Seymour. There's also a slight chance Waterbury Career Academy, Plainfield, maybe even Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook can get in, but they would probably need both of those teams to lose and then help. So that is the situation in Class S. In Class S, it's not as clear-cut. Only 2 of 8 teams have qualified, beginning with Granby Canton, which is the number 1 overall seed, and Coginchaug Co-op at 7-2. They play North Branford for a shot to get a home playoff game, which would not be allowed at their field, so they don't allow portable lights anymore. They'd have to go find another place to play. But the teams that can get in with wins include Wyndham, which plays Montfield. They are 6-3. Gilbert, Northwest, Housatonic, 5-4. They play St. Paul Tuesday night, and they will win. A win there will get them in. Tolland plays E.O. Smith, winning in. And then Sheehan at 5-4. We'll get to them in a second. They must beat Lyman Hall to get in. Teams that are on the cusp, that would only be 6 spots right there because that's 4-2. So the other teams that are in the running is defending champion Barlow at 5-4, plays Weston. Foreign at 5-4, plays Law. And then also even New Fairfield, which is 4-5, but will get a ton of points if it somehow beats New Milford. There's also a chance Watertown, Ledyard, Plainville, and even Ellington way down there will have a chance. But the 2 to look out for will be Barlow and Foreign. If they can win, they need to get a little help to stay ahead of the pack there. But that is the situation there in Class SS. Sheehan had a chance to qualify on Thursday, but it was going to be a tough opponent against Han, a team they historically have no luck against. But they did defeat last year, and at the new Riccatelli Field, this is their second game on it since it's been refurbished up in Wallingford. And Han Tigers coming to town. Winner was going to clinch, loser was going to have to win or just get some help on Thanksgiving. Now, as mentioned, Han lost this game last year, but came in on a 7-game win streak, having not allowed a point against its SEC Tier 2 opponents since Week 2 when it played Tier 1 Fairfield Prep in that crazy overtime game. That's 24 consecutive quarters that did not allow a point. And it even got up to 25 consecutive quarters until Sheehan's Dante Donoso took this reverse and went all the way around the end and scored to put Sheehan up 7-0. Sheehan looking good so far, but Owen Prescott takes the ensuing kickoff, dances out of a few tackles, and races all the way back into Sheehan territory to set up his own touchdown, a short TD pass from Jack Shea to tie the score. And then later on, Aiden Dolan rips through the lines and goes into the end zone to put Hand up for good, 14-7. Sheehan did get within 14-10 on a late field goal to end the half. But after Hand missed the field goal attempt, a Sheehan fumble at midfield gave them another chance, and Aiden Dolan, who had a great game with 139 yards rushing on 23 carries, busted loose for a touchdown run from 30 yards out to make it 21-10 Hand. And though Sheehan got within 21-18 on a TD run by sophomore Brady Rosado and a 2-point conversion pass to Donuzzo, Hand's defense stiffened in the fourth quarter. They used a short field to put the game away, a 37-yard TD pass from Shea to junior Sam Markovitz, 28-18. Tigers, a year after missing out on the state playoffs, back in the fold, this time in Class M. And, well, if you're a Class M playoff team, look out, because this team is going to be tough. And here is Coach Eric Becker and Aiden Dolan.
We knew that winning here would be a monumental challenge, and we experienced some adversity. You know, we haven't let up a point since Fairfield Prep, right? So when we did, our mentality is next play. Our mentality is next play. We don't flinch. We get stronger as the game goes on, and our kids made some plays down the stretch. Our kids stepped up. Our kids stepped up big time. Our defense stepped up. We were able to do enough to keep them out of the end zone, and I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, we figured out what we got wrong last year. We made our adjustments. And I think a lot of it had to do with how much people worked in the offseason. And we're all so connected that we're just having so much fun together.
They are going to be the runaway favorites to win in Class M, but we'll see what Rockville, maybe even Berlin, which got in, and maybe St. Joseph if it gets in somehow. Northwest United also in there, undefeated, and ATI. So we will see in Class M, but right now, Hand a clear favorite. As for the rest of the division, Holy Cross is in with a win over Wolcott. They kind of stumbled late in the year, but have a chance to make amends by beating Wolcott to get in. Wolcott's really been struggling, and the last playoff spot will come down to who can ever get the most points out of that group. You got to win to get in, and right now I think St. Joseph has a good shot. Lyman Hall, if it can beat Sheehan somehow, we get a ton of points, and so we'll see how that shakes out. Moving over to Class Double M, 5 of 8 spots are filled, including Windsor, which is in the clubhouse at 9-1, Wilton in the clubhouse at 8-2, Platt is 8-1, Fitch is 8-1, and North Haven is also clinched at 7-2. Masuk is just about clinched. It's very close. We miscalculated a little bit. I don't quite know why or what happened there. I know the points from CIAC with this new system have been a little wonky. I had a lot of coaches sending me text messages this week asking me if they thought it was going to be right. It seems like it's right now, but is this the reason why we miscalculated on Masuk? I don't quite know. But Masuk will play Newtown. A win gets them in, obviously, but it is it's almost a done deal as it is. They just need like a bonus game to get in. So that is the situation there. So that will make it 6. And the last 2 spots come down to Guilford and Cheshire. Guilford must beat Hand, though, which it hasn't done since 2006, and it has only done 5 times in 50 years. So Guilford at the Surf Club, tough spot against Hand right now, and they need to win to get in there. And the other spot is Cheshire, which needs to beat Southington for the first time since 2011. Remember, they didn't do it last year, but back then, could the same thing happen this year? Maybe. If they lose to Southington, they could probably back in. They don't want to do that. We don't know what the situation is with Matt Jeffrey, but it'll be very tough against Southington, a pretty good Southington team, but, Cheshire's been pretty scrappy despite losing him for most of the second half of the season. So failing that, if Guilford or Cheshire lose, or if they just get in a little bit of help, if Bunnell beats Stratford, Bunnell will get in one of those final spots. It'll be really close, but I think Bunnell's in a really good spot right now if they can just beat Stratford on Thanksgiving. And, they might even still get in. If both teams lose, they'll definitely get in. But if one team's lose, they're definitely get in. If both teams win, it might be a little tougher, but it'll be interesting. So just keep an eye out on that. Moving to Class L, the big linchpin game there was South Windsor playing host to Enfield in the Route 5 Bowl on Saturday morning. Both teams needing wins to get in and would basically set up the whole entire division with this result. But Enfield would need to beat Manchester the next week. So Enfield needing a win to stay alive. South Windsor just a win to get in. And here we go. I love the play of running back Logan Sherwood from South Windsor, who was just a terror on both sides of the ball. He ran 15 times for 100 yards and 2 scores. Down 14-7 in the first half, South Windsor ties the game on a tip pass touchdown by Sly Elder from Mitch Chavez, and then went ahead 21-14 at halftime on a short TD run by Sherwood. Second half, Joe Bemis with a great catch and the 55-yard touchdown run to put South Windsor up 2 scores, 28-14. Enfield quarterback Zach Benini gets them back within 1 score on a short touchdown run, and he had Enfield in South Windsor territory early in the fourth quarter, threatening to tie the game. But on the snap at about the South Windsor 30-yard line, he fumbled, and it was recovered by Bemis for South Windsor. Enfield did get the ball back, backed up on its own 7. Benini busts loose for a big 30-yard run over to midfield, and he was clearly hobbled by an injury and just didn't have the breakaway speed here. Still, he gave Enfield a chance to tie this game late, but Enfield turned the ball over on downs, and then after getting the ball back for one more shot at it, Sherwood picks off this pass to end the game. South Windsor off to the Class L playoffs, their first postseason berth since 2017. They were 1-9 last year, and now they are playoff bound. And here's Sherwood.
What made it happen, I think the teamwork, the bond, and just like the fight we have this season. We didn't want to have a rerun of last season, go 1-9. And this team, I'm very proud of this team right now. We're fighting every quarter. We're fighting, and that's really it. We're just going to playoffs. Practice this week, it was very serious. There was no one joking around. We studied their plays. We knew we had it on top before we even played them. We knew we had it. We knew we had the dub.
You've been through this before. The players haven't. What are the most important things to get done in the next 10 days as you prepare for your quarterfinal?
Well, I learned a long time ago with Weaver. We went for our first playoff game, and we made a big deal out of it. And that's not the right approach, and I've learned since then. It's another game. It's another opponent. We're going to work to get better like we've done every day, every week, and we're going to go play it like we would anybody in our schedule, as hard and as well as we can play.
How many days are you going to give them off, though?
Not many. Not many. We don't usually give them many. They ain't getting many now.
You also heard a little bit from Coach David Hodge, whose team now gets a break to see where they land in the Class L playoffs. Enfield, at this point, it's pretty much a done deal for them in Class L because there are 7 of 8 spots already accounted for. Naugatuck, New Canaan, Newtown, Maloney, South Windsor, Shelton, and Darien, which also backed in. They don't need to beat New Canaan this time. They are now already in the playoffs. And the last spot will go to Killingly if Killingly defeats Woodstock Academy on Thanksgiving Day. So failing that, maybe New Milford can squeeze in there, but it's probably going to be Killingly for that last spot. What a class this is, a very tough class between Naughty, New Canaan, Newtown, and Maloney. Maybe some rematches in here. Obviously, Shelton will beat New Canaan early on in the season. Maybe Darien, New Canaan rematch. It'll be very fascinating in Class L. And then finally, moving over to Class Double L, Manchester, despite getting ripped 40-33 by East Hartford, still managed to clinch a spot here, along with New Britain, which easily defeated Hartford Public to earn its first Class Double L playoff berth since 2018. So that's 6 of 8 spots accounted for. Greenwich, obviously, number 1. Staples, number 2. West Haven, number 3. Those are the top 3 seeds. It's just a matter of where they end up. If Greenwich beats Staples, they're number 1. If Staples beats Greenwich, there's a chance West Haven can get in over them and be the number 1 seed, or a chance that Staples will be the number 1 seed. If they tie, however, it would go to, and West Haven already beat Staples, it would be a tiebreaker. But that'll be fascinating too. Southington also very close to having a home game there too. The last 2 spots come down to Stanford. If it can beat winless West Hill, which it would clinch its first state playoff berth since 1995 when they faced and lost to Trumbull in the semifinals. And then that would be 1 spot remaining, and that's going to basically come down to Kennedy, which needs to beat Crosby on Thanksgiving, or Fairfield Prep, which is 3-6, winners of 3 straight, playing West Haven's going to get a ton of points. If those two teams win, it's going to be very close. Well, also East Hartford in the mix there possibly. But there is a very good chance Fairfield Prep could get in this at 4-6. Maybe if Kennedy loses to Crosby, which is not out of the realm of possibility. And they get enough points. But that would be fascinating to see. And then maybe, next thing you know, they could be back at Greenwich where they started the season all those months ago. So that is Class LL, and that is the short version of the CISC playoff situation heading into Thanksgiving week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So like I said before, keep an eye out on GameTimeCT. We'll have updates all throughout the week as results come in. But before we get to Pete and the picks, we have a little bit of house cleaning to do in recapping the weekend NEPSAC Bowl championship games involving 5 Connecticut prep schools. I caught 2 of them, and let me tell you, they were both tremendous. Starting up Friday night at Samosa Field, the runner-up Drew Gamir Bowl between Founders League second place Avon Old Farms, looking for a 4th straight bowl win, and Northeast Prep's Cheshire Academy, looking for its first title since 2016, and first under coach Bill Mella, who took over this year. Cheshire Academy's top 2 players are clearly Luke Reynolds off Penn State next year, and Bridgeport's Eli Newby, who's committed to the University of Southern California. And let me tell you, they showed out in their final game. Avon Old Farms up 7-0, and Newby appeared to tie the game on this insane catch and run. He split the defenders and went all the way down the sidelines to apparently tie the game. But after a whole bunch of discussion with the referees, and I didn't even see any flags flying, they pulled his points off the board. Bill Mella not happy, and without anybody seeing any flags, and I was told afterward that they did throw it, but without anybody seeing it, it was really confusing, especially on the Cheshire Academy sidelines. But afterward, I was told what it was he was an ineligible receiver because he lined up in a certain formation that was only caught afterward, and they pulled his points off the board, much to everyone's chagrin. I'd never ever seen anything like that before. No worries, though. Dante Reno, in his final high school game, the South Carolina commit hits Reynolds with a 30-yard touchdown pass 2 plays later. It's 7-7. Avon Old Farms gets into position thanks to a nice catch and run by our guy, Brandon Hutchinson, which sets up Connor Cronin with a 13-yard touchdown pass from Georgia commit Ryan Puglisi. And it looked like that would be the halftime score, 14-7 Avon Old Farms. But with seconds to go in the half, watch this. Reno to Reynolds over the middle, flip to Newby, who goes in on the hook and lateral play. Wow, at the buzzer, one of the best plays I've seen all year. Tied up 14 all. Nothing doing until late in the third quarter. The team started trading haymakers. After Chris White puts Cheshire Academy up 21-14 on this short TD run, Avon Old Farms' Owen Moreland, who'd had a great season, scores his second TD of the game on a 78-yard scoring run. But even that was short-lived when on the ensuing kickoff, Tristan Washington, the former Cheshire Ram out of New Haven, takes the ensuing kickoff 92 yards to the house. That's 3 touchdowns in 28 seconds. My goodness, it is 28-21 Cheshire Academy after 3. Avon Old Farms fumbled the ball away, but Owen Moreland picks off Reno and gets the ball back. And Avon Old Farms eventually ties the game up on his short touchdown run with 5:08 remaining. But with under a minute left, right after Reynolds pulls his way in for a first down on 4th and 3, it's Reno to Reynolds. South Carolina commit to Penn State commit with the fingertip tippy-toe catch just in bounds. Touchdown Cheshire Academy. Hugh Bedlam, 35-28 with 36 seconds to go, and Chris White seals it with an interception. Cheshire Academy rushes the field amid bedlam at Samosa Field to celebrate their 35-28 victory over Avon Old Farms in the Drew Gamir Bowl, their first title since 2017. And the Cats, after going 3-6 last year and then stumbling with 2 losses in their final 3 regular season games, walk off as champions in the Drew Gamere Bowl, and what can you say? Just a great effort all around, great game all around. And here is newbie and Reynolds and Coach Bill Mella.
I mean, it's week 10. We put in a lot of work this preseason, all the way throughout the season. So just being here with the opportunity to go against a great team like Avon means a lot. Coach Mella did a great job getting the locker room right. When he say that, he just means the connection, the brotherhood. It all starts in the locker room. And then from day one, we established that. And then now, we champions.
You know, we had some ups and downs near the end of the season. I don't think we were fully locked in, but we all knew we had to come together for this one. It's going to be a tough one. We were down a couple guys. So everyone had to step up, and everyone knew we had to buy into this game. You know, everyone wants that ring. So
Eli gets his TD wiped out. You know, tell me about, you guys, what were you cooking up there in the huddle with like 2 seconds left?
We were cooking up everything. We were drawing up everything that we could. We had a couple plays this week that we put in just to mess with them. And we actually hit it at the end of the half where I pitched it back to Eli. So even though we got a touchdown wipe, we still got it at the end of the game.
We've been cooking that up. Coach Eki been cooking that up for a few years, and finally he got it. And luckily, me and Luke could be the one to execute that.
Tell me about that touchdown catch.
That was pretty awesome. Reno and I actually came out pre-game and had some of the catches just like it. So just another day in the office. Yeah, everything's full circle. You know, they're a great team, coached really well, got a lot of great players. So I wish them the best moving forward. But at the end of the day, one team's got to win. So I'm proud of my team and my teammates.
It's a really special group, and they have been from the beginning when I was announced as the head coach. And I'm just so fortunate to have had the opportunity to work with these kids and to watch what they were able to do, even stumbling. You know, they took this as this was something that was one of our goals, and they crushed it. Right now I can't be more proud. I just can't. I love these kids. They're awesome.
Then on Saturday, after catching the South Windsor game, I rushed back down the Hamden to catch the thrilling conclusion of the Joe Lang Bowl between Hamden Hall hosting Dexter Southfield, Massachusetts. Hamden Hall came in, winners of 8 straight. They lost their opening game to Long Island Lutheran, trying to cap Hamden Hall's first championship season since 2017, when they finished off back-to-back seasons with titles for Coach Joe Linta, who preordained them his best overall team. They were up 27-14, but in the fourth quarter, Dexter Southfield rallied with 2 touchdowns to take a 28-27 lead with 3:13 remaining. And Hamden Hall's season on the brink. They faced 4th and 5 from midfield, and Fairfield's Charlie Goldblin with the wide open TD pass to New Haven's Keanu Johnson, 55 yards out, 1:41 left. My goodness. Ryan Skoronski with the 2-point conversion to put them up 35-28. But Dexter wasn't finished. They got a short field thanks to a nice return by Michael Thomas, and we're at the 4-yard line. 4th and goal, time for one more play. And they got it. Quarterback Joe McCauley hit Michael Bonsu for the touchdown, and what would they do? Well, they just scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. Of course they're going to go for it. On the ensuing 2-point conversion run, direct snap to Quinn Carter, who goes into the line, twists his body, outstretches his hand at the goal line, and loses the ball. But was he in? Was he in? No! Hamden Hall takes it 35-14 in a real close call, an absolute nail-biter. But Ash Wasserman from Hamden was there to make the initial contact and stop and hope for reinforcements, and they got it. And Hamden Hall walks off as champions, winners of 9 straight games after losing their season opener, and made a seer out of Coach Joe Linta, who, again, called it his best team ever, or one of his best team ever. But, hey, that's what great players do, Coach said. They make plays, and here's Linta.
Yeah, I knew this team was going to be good in the beginning of the year, but we stumbled in the first week, had some injury issues, but they just ran the table through what's a very, very tough evergreen league, and these guys are an evergreen opponent also. And we just have a lot of good players. It has nothing to do with coaching. These guys are great players. And not only are they good players and multiple offer guys here and all that, but the way they play and the way they've come back from adversity 3 of the last 4 weeks and been down, come back, and right on the edge of losing the game, and they just come back and make a play, and we just make plays. And I always tell them, big guys make big plays in big games, and they did it today. This was that.
Could you believe it? You were wide open. You were.
Actually, I looked at the ball and I kind of glanced back and I was like, "Ooh, it's time." I mean, it was surreal. Like, just everybody cheering. Like, after I scored, I looked back at the stands. Everybody's jumping around. Just, great.
I mean, it was tough. They were really big up front. They were moving us the last couple of drives, but we had to back down the hatches. We plug up those holes. I saw the quarterback open up to my side. The tackles came out. I plugged that hole, grabbed the legs. Rest was history. So.
Could you believe it? Could you believe it?
No, I mean I had them wrapped up, and then everybody fell on my leg. So I was hurting a little bit, but we came together, gang tackle as a team, and that's really what it's about. We came together, stopped them on the goal line, and that was it. It's a great feeling. I mean, we faced so much adversity, and we got 27 guys in the roster. We got guys going both ways. We got a lot of seniors going to colleges, so it's really a great feeling sending them off on a high note, and it's just so good for me to play with them.
We also heard from Keanu Johnson on his touchdown pass, and then obviously Ash Wasserman. It's funny that Hamden Hall juniors are the guys who delivered this championship victory, 35-34 over Dexter Southfield, and sent the seniors out as winners. But look out for them next year. They should be pretty good. So that will do it from the prep schools. Obviously, the other games, congratulations go out to Jim Stone and Canterbury School, which defeated Worcester Academy 17-13 to win Canterbury's first bowl game since 2003 and the first of Jim Stone's tenure. So congrats to him and the Saints. And then obviously in the big bowl, the Leon Modeste Bowl between Choate and Phillips Exeter. Choate came away with a 17-14 victory, took a 17-0 halftime lead on touchdown runs from Matt Diaz and Pearson Hill. Carson Hill had a punt block that set up his brother's TD, and they hung on for dear life to win that game 17-14 to win the sixth undefeated season for Coach LJ Spinato in 9 seasons, which is just utter chaos. It's just ridiculous. So congratulations to them. A great season. So with the prep school information and season out of the way, we now move to the regular season finale and the picks. Pete.
Yeah, it's been a wild week. We saw a couple of 10-0s finally for the first time this year. A lot of 9-1s. Everyone is still available to kind of win this. We have a lot of games coming up, but quickly just got it in the mail. We just did a little unboxing off air, but the trophy is here.
Wow. Hey, look at that.
Look how beautiful this thing is. Look at that. Great. Even says custom Etsy, baby. Wow. Etsy. So now this will sit over my desk until it is claimed by someone, hopefully me, so it doesn't have to leave. But it will sit on my desk next to the 8-ball before a champion is claimed, or for the championship is claimed. And right at the top of the standings, Sean Barker clings to a 1-game lead. He is 74-26, which is pretty crazy. I went back and looked at last year's standings. Dave Stewart was leading going into Thanksgiving with 68 correct answers. So Barker is 6 games up on where Dave Stewart was last year.
Wow.
I got to go back. He might be at a historic pace.
Oh,
I mean, go back
is it him or is it the picks this year just been a little easier?
Maybe the picks have been a little easier. I'm 68-32 this year, and I'm in 7th place.
Wow. Where were you compared last year?
I did not do well last year. So, but here's the thing. Everyone is really in play because we're picking 20 games this week for Thanksgiving. So this segment's going to be a little longer. Picking 20 games. And then next week, or quarterfinals week, we're picking 24 games. Then 12, then 6. So there's a lot, there's 62 games left to pick.
Wow. It's all right. Plenty of time left.
Plenty of time to make up games. This could be September 1978 for someone like Chris McNamee. All right. Sean, we got 20 games. Are you ready to dive in?
Let's go, man. Start now. We'll be here till Christmas.
All right. So we're going to start in the SWC. Masuk, with everything that's going on in that program, they are 7-2 going on the road to Newtown on Thanksgiving Eve. The Nighthawks are 8-1. Overall, Newtown leads the series 15-10-1, and they've won 9 out of the last 10, with Masuk's last win coming on a last-second field goal in 2021. Sean, who do you like for this one? Can Masuk kind of, focus everything away and just focus on the game at hand, and can they knock off Newtown?
Pete, given everything that has happened at Masuk this year, the whole coaching turmoil, the Board of Education investigation, all that stuff, we saw last week or the week before just how good Masuk can be when they put their minds on something. And, we gave a lot on the podcast last week. We gave a lot of credit to the seniors for putting together a big time win over New Milford. Here's the one thing I think is a little undersung about Masuk this year. Their defense is fantastic. It's got a lot of juniors on it, too. You got guys like Eli Belazor or Ryan Putnam, number 9. Just a lot of dudes on that team that they just fly to the ball. And, we got Champagne. Yeah, you got Rob Klein at quarterback, who's been playing pretty well since coming back from injury. You have the Walker twins. Just a lot of good dudes. I'm a little worried about Newtown. Got some great guys, Attic and Co. But the quarterback situation worries me a little bit. But, Bunnell gave them a nice little run. Now, Bunnell's a pretty good team, too. But the thing is, I love Masuk's defense. And I think their offense might be just a little bit better. It's going to be a tough game. It's always a tough game. There was a stretch, like a few years in a row, where Masuk just absolutely dominated. But then the pendulum swung the other way, and it was Newtown all the way. This is one of the better matchups. Not a lot at stake, not a lot of playoffs at stake, but certainly seeding and obviously bragging rights between these two communities. I'm going to go with Masuk here, Pete. I don't know. I just feel like I feel like they got some. I feel like these, especially the seniors, they got something to prove to everybody that, listen, we don't even need coaches yet. We could call this game ourselves. So I'm going to go with Masuk here.
It's good that you're impressed by Masuk's defense, because the last time I saw them, they got torched by Bloomfield. Masuk's great. I think everything that, Hope and Champagne and Klein and the leaders of that team have done this year is really impressive. That said, Newtown's got some dudes, right? Yes, if Cordova is out and Schaffstahl is playing. He played really well last week. He managed. He can do things with his feet. They still got J.J. Haddock. They still have Aiden Powells. And look, here's a guy that we really haven't spoken about a lot this year. Jaden Taylor, 42 catches, 12 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah.
Newtown can move the ball. I'm going with the Nighthawks in this game. I think they keep the streak going. Masuk, great regular season. Obviously, they're going to go to the playoffs and things can happen, and they have a lot more to kind of prove. But I'm going to go with Newtown for this one. All right, Sean, we're going to go to another Wednesday night game. Fairfield Prep going to Ken Strong to play the 8-1 Blue Devils. West Haven leads this series between these bitter rivals, 17-10. Fairfield Prep has won 6 in a row. And last year, they beat West Haven when West Haven was 9-0. West Haven was the number 1 team coming out of the Hamden win. They go into Fairfield Prep. They lose. Then they lost in the first round to Glastonbury in a big upset. West Haven's got to be pissed. I don't care what Fairfield Prep's record. West Haven has a lot to prove in this game this season. I'm going to go first on this one. I think Fairfield Prep, I think this is a great story. They're back in the mix. They're causing a little bit of chaos. I kind of love it, but man, West Haven is so good. Obviously, Armani Reed, Cam Kemp, Aiden Coe, DeMarco Edie, Nick Conlon. We can go down the list of how talented West Haven is. And because of that, I'm going with West Haven. I think this Blue Devils team is special. And I think a win on Thanksgiving Eve will kickstart what could be a deep run in the Double L playoffs. Sean, who do you like?
Pete, I was shocked to learn that West Haven has not won this game since 2016. That is unbelievable to me. Now, I know that they haven't been great a few of those years, but, there's been some close calls. Like, there was one year, 63-12. Okay. Lost 28-0. Lost 28-0 in 19. And then the last 2 years, it's been 21-6 and 28-7. There was also that other game, 21-14 and 27. This was a game West Haven used to pretty much dominate back when I first started. But I think they finally break the trend this year. West Haven just has so many dudes, and I know. Listen, Fairfield Prep's got some guys too, and especially like Finbar Malloy at receiver, and they're making a nice run of this. But I think West Haven they can kind of sense that things been going great for them since they were lost to North Haven. Like you said, Reed's been great. I just have a hard time. So many talented players, and and Prep struggle. Let's remember, they're making a run here, but they played against some good teams and they got beat pretty soundly. So I think West Haven's just the best team in the conference. I know it's Thanksgiving week, but I gotta go. I gotta stay with the Westies here.
All right, we're gonna go to Thanksgiving morning in the CTC. Northwest United, 9-0, going to Abbott Tech Immaculate. This is a great game. Two of the best teams in the CTC. This storied rivalry is playing its third game. Northwest United has won the first two. And Northwest United has a chance to extend their regular season win streak. I think might be close to 25, 26. And they have a chance to finish a regular season unbeaten for the second straight season. This is a program that didn't win a game for 4 years before they added Nanawag, which is saying a little bit of something. But Northwest United has been the best team in the CTC the last couple of years. Ben Roden is phenomenal. Barksdale, Reed Werner, they got receivers that guys can make plays. And then ATI, obviously, on the other side. Super talented, great coach and Chris Pace. Sean, who do you like in this one? Can the workhorses wrap up the regular season at 10-0?
Yeah, oof. This is a tough one. At Mustang Valley, two tech school, not tech school. They're both co-op programs masquerading as CTC tech school programs. Remember, that's these are good. These teams would do well in the Pequot. Let's put it that way. That said, I have a hard time picking against Northwest United, and I keep thinking that somebody's going to bite them. But Roden's been so good this year, and nobody seems to have an answer for him in that conference, especially in that conference. So I'm going to kind of cash my chick. I'm going to put my chips on the table on Roden, and I'm going to go with the workhorses.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the workhorses as well. I think I picked them to finish the season undefeated back in week 1. Nothing against ATI. I just think that this is a very talented group for the CTC, and they'll wrap it with a nice bow at 10-0, and then see who they get in the playoffs. All right, so we're going to the FCAC. We have 8-1 Staples going on the road to Cardinal Stadium to play the 9-0 Greenwich Cardinals. This series, real tight. Staples took the lead of the series last year, 9-8, when they beat Greenwich 39-38 in a wild one at Staples High. Greenwich had been on a 5-game win streak before Staples win, so Staples is on a 1-game win streak. These are two of the best teams in the state, two of the best teams in Double L. The results of this game can send waves throughout Double L in terms of the seeding, right? If you're in Double L, you want to be the 1 seed to avoid the 2 and 3 until the championship, right? So this game is must win. Greenwich wins. They're the number 1 seed. They don't have to play West Haven or Staples until the championship, if everything breaks the way that we think it's going to. And if Staples wins, they're the 1 seed. They will avoid Greenwich or West Haven until the finals.
Yeah.
If I read our playoff scenarios right. Now, obviously, things can change, but this is huge for both of these teams. Must win, right? You want to avoid either of those teams until the championship. You don't want to have to play 2 top 5 teams back-to-back in 6 days. So, for this one, I'm going to go with Greenwich here. I think Greenwich gets back in the win column of this series. I've been voting them number 1 all year. I think they're the best team in the state. They have the, what they're going to do. They're going to play sound offense. They're going to play sound defense. They're not going to make mistakes. They're not going to get burned. They're not going to get ran out of the building. Okay? I've seen Staples, get dominated by West Haven. Obviously, that was 11 weeks ago, and a lot of things changed, right? Caleb Smith is going to have to do a lot of great things in this game. Staples cannot run the ball without Caleb Smith, and Greenwich doesn't really let teams run on them, right? So this is going to be the Caleb Smith game. If he has a great game, Staples can win this game. But right now, I'm putting my money on the Greenwich defense. I'm going to put it on Rocco Grillo, the offensive line for moving the ball and being able to score points. I'm going with Greenwich. They're going to complete the regular season undefeated at 10-0. Sean, who do you like?
Is George Von Malakis playing? Do we know that?
We don't know that.
Yeah. That's going to hurt him a little bit if he's not able to go. He's been he was in the last game. But, I agree with you, Pete. Listen, Greenwich just, to me right now, is just the more complete team, even if Von Malakis can play. They have other guys who can run the ball, and Grillo who can throw the ball. And they have guys in the receiving core, obviously. And the dudes are up front. I mean, it's going to be tough to stop them. Staples' defense has been pretty good. I think they will have a good shot. But as you mentioned, it all comes down to Caleb Smith. Can Caleb Smith move the ball against this Greenwich defense? If the Greenwich defense, they're going to go hard after him running the ball, and they're going to dare him to beat him and his receivers to beat them. They got good cover guys, Greenwich. They got Singa at linebacker. He can basically, help. He can basically he's the stopper on most teams' run games all by himself. And then they got guys on the ends, and it's going to be very tough to move the ball against them. I mean, I think Staples and Caleb Smith are so good. I think they will, but I think Greenwich gets enough stops. If I'm Greenwich's defense, I'm more worried about him doing damage with his feet than with his arm, because I feel like I can cover their receivers. I can kind of put a stop to the passing game. We'll see. If Staples can throw and they can keep him honest, it might be a much different game. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going with the Cardinals.
Yep, agreed. All right, to the SEC. This one's a Wednesday nighter. Guilford. Great season for Guilford, no matter what happens in this game. Just an unbelievable first season for Coach White and the Grizzlies. They're going to the Surf Club to play Daniel Hand. The resurgent and beneficial of the SEC Tier 2 schedule, Hand Tigers. Great season by Hand. Eric Becker, great job. This rivalry is only a rivalry due to where town lines were drawn many, many, many years ago. This game on paper is not a rivalry. They have played, this will be the 50th time that they play. Hand leads the series 43-5-1. Yikes. The last time Guilford won was 2006. The fall of 2006, I was in my junior year of high school.
Scott Benoit's Guilford team. He came in there. He cleaned up this town. He finally did it. And that was like, Hand had won a state championship 2 years prior, and they were on the rebuilding. Man, they would, the next year, 2007, they would obviously go on and win a state championship again. So, it was that they were just learning back then. But now it's a much tougher, different spot, though. Am I going first? Sorry.
Yeah, you are going first.
I am going first here. All right. Pete, actually, Guilford actually gave him a run, I think, if I remember correctly.
Last year, yes, they did.
Yeah. Gave it a shot, and I thought they were going to pull it off, and I think they would have qualified if they had won that game, or thereabouts. I don't remember. But listen, Hand is a Tier 2 team, is a Tier 1 team masquerading as a Tier 2 team. Get them up, get them back up to the top. Jeez. That said, though, it is they do play in Class M, so maybe figure out a way to balance your schedule somehow. But hey, listen. That said, they've done an exceptional job with the teams that have been on their schedule. In fact, they haven't allowed a point leading into they didn't allow a point for a huge stretch there. So, you got Guilford coming in. Guilford, the one game you look at is just Hill House. What the heck happened there? And the answer is, it's just, is Guilford as good as their record? And that's kind of the question everybody wants, and that's where they're putting it all on the line in this game. At the Surf Club, though, really tough spot. Hand has just been so dominant. I picked them to win a state championship the preseason in Class M. I'm going Hand. I mean,
Yeah, look, Guilford, we thought they would have a good season. Obviously, Tyler Hilgert is in his third year as the quarterback. He's having a phenomenal season. Hilliner, who transferred in. Hillier, he has, made his impact known. Hand is different than any team that they've played this year.
It's probably the best Guilford team they've played in a while. It's up there. I mean, there was probably a couple years ago that was good.
Yeah. but this is the best team that they've faced all year, and I'm going to go with the Tigers over the Grizzlies. A nice little circus fight, right? Because the Tigers and Bears. All right, the Wizard of Oz. All right, anyway, I'm going with Dan. All right, now we're going into the fun names side of the picks. We have in the Pequot, we have the Route 17 Bowl. North Branford goes on the road, I'm assuming on Route 17, to play Coginchaug, East Hampton, and Hale Ray. This is the 7th meeting between the two on Thanksgiving. The series is tied at 2-2. North Branford has won the last two by a combined score of 97-24. I'm going first on this one. I am not making the same mistake that I made a couple of weeks ago. I am picking North Branford. I am picking Tommy Hansen. I am picking AJ Siegel. I am picking Coach Salvati. I am going with the Thunderbirds. I am not making the same mistake. Coginchaug's schedule has been very kind to them. North Branford, much better team. They are going to win this game easily. Sean, who do you like?
I'm 100% with you. Coginchaug might be the Guilford of the Pequot League. You know, their schedule has been very light. Yeah, and they had one game pushed off till week 10, and then they resumed it. They were down 2 touchdowns, and they gave up 30 points to Cromwell Port. So, I know they're anxious to prove themselves, and this is a spot. Everyone's looking at you guys going, oh, I don't know. You look at the schedule. You know, there's some teams in there that you guys probably shouldn't have lost it, especially that badly. So this is your chance. This is your chance to kind of show what you guys got. I mean, playoff bound, and we'll see about how that goes. But for now, this is a chance to prove it, maybe even to yourself too. That said, I'm going to go with the T-Birds. I think they are much more battle tested, and they got some players there that Siegel had an amazing game the other 2 weeks ago. Against Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook. I won't make the same mistake either, Pete. I'm going to go with the T-Birds.
All right, up to the ECC, we have the battle for Ledyard Sword. Fitch at 8-1, going on the road to Ledyard to play the 4-5. What is Ledyard's nickname? The 4-5 Bunicors. What are they?
They're the Colonels.
The Colonels. The 4-5 Colonels. Look, Ledyard's been on an absolute tear recently. The new single wing offense. They are 4-5. Ledyard leads the series 10-8, but Fitch has won 6 straight. Here's the thing: last year we picked this game. Ledyard had a much better overall season. Obviously, a lot smaller than Fitch. Played a different schedule in the ECC. Ledyard had James Green. They were so talented, and you know what? Fitch won. This year, Fitch is 8-1. Ledyard's kind of down a little bit. Sean, can Ledyard's single wing play spoiler here for Fitch on Thanksgiving?
I think not. I think the Fitch is going to win this game. Going into the playoffs, they've been really good all season. Ledyard, listen, it's going to be a little tricky because Ledyard's running the single wing, and they've really come on of late. And look out for them next year. I think they're a team back on the rise. This has always been a great game. I think they'll be competitive. I mean, there's not a whole ton that. I mean, Fitch is playing for whether he might get a home game, but I have a hard time. There's just so many weapons on Fitch. I have a hard time picking against them. I'm going to go with Fitch.
All right, we're going to stay up in the ECC for the 161st meeting between Norwich Free Academy, who is 3-6, and New London, who is 5-4. NFA leads the series 81-68-11. But NFA has won 4 straight in the series. For all the struggles that NFA has had, they have been able to win on Thanksgiving, maybe having less trouble than New London has. But New London, what a great season. 5-4, first year under Coach Bobby Sanchez. The Whalers look like they're on the straight and narrow, the right path to becoming a competitive team in the state again. And I'm going to go first on this one. I'm going to go with New London. I think they end the season with a huge exclamation point on this season, and it's going to, help push the New London program forward for Bobby Sanchez heading into season 2. Sean, who do you like in this one?
I also like New London as well. NFA's done a nice job as well. I mean, that's the mark. Teams struggled beginning of the year. There's a lot of moving pieces you got to kind of get going. Some teams you do it better than others, and those are the teams that end up going to the playoffs. Because again, you have a short time to build your team up, and you try and do it over the off season. So, when you got all those things, you work everything out. Maybe the schedule has a little bit to do with it, but if you start winning or start playing better toward the end of the year, that's the best thing for a coach. That means what you're saying and what you're trying to show those kids is really kind of having an impact team wide. And so both teams should be commended for that because they've really come on toward the end of the year. That said, I'm going to go with New London. I just think they're just a little bit better this year. I think they're going to, it's a springboard. Both of them are going to have a springboard. This game's always competitive. It's always a fun game. So I'm just gonna go with the Whalers. I just think down the road they'll be great. We'll see. But yeah, Whalers.
All right, the generic Turkey Bowl. Darien 7-2, going to Dunning to play the 8-1 Rams. This is a great rivalry for a lot of reasons, but clearly not for on the field. New Canaan leads this series 20-8. New Canaan has won 5 in a row. New Canaan has not lost this game since Drew Pine's freshman year.
Oh, yeah. 2016.
Yeah.
An all-time great. I have a picture of it up there.
Yeah.
Right there. Who's that? Finlay Collins interception in
overtime. Yeah, in overtime. Yep. So Darien has not really won this game in a while. And Darien is on the rise. 7-2. Great first season under coach Andy Grant. They're going up against a really good New Canaan team. Sean, you get to go first on this one. I didn't want to tip my pick, but you get to go first.
Yeah, it was a good game last year, even though Darien was really struggling. And the big controversy, why did they go for it, was 4th and inches, basically. And shouldn't they have kicked it? And, they just were going for the gusto there. And I like both teams like that. Ended up keeping them out of the playoffs, if you really want to be honest. But, hey, they still had to play overtime, if not. This is a great game. It's hard to say. I want to say New Canaan. I mean, New Canaan's clearly the better team all season long. At their field, really tough. Alec Bento is just tremendous. He's probably the best player on the field. He'll be going up against the Twin Towers of Darien. And, so I think the Blue Wave are going to be right in this game. I think it's going to give them a show, especially with a playoff berth on the line. A win and they are in, and a loss and they're in trouble. So they don't want to have any type of issues with that. But that said, I really like I really like New Canaan's defense. Probably one of the best in the state still. The guys this year have picked up the mantle from last year's team and run with it. At Dunning, I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah, fun fact, last year, Darien, obviously they did not kick the field goal at the end, but they did kick a field goal earlier in the game. Yes. And the person that kicked that field goal's name was Tucker Stevens.
Right.
Now, Tucker Stevens is now on the New Canaan football team, and if he kicks a field goal in the game, he'll become the first player in the history of the Turkey Bowl to kick a field goal for both teams in the Turkey Bowl.
There you go.
So, first drive, New Canaan go down the field, take 3. Tucker Stevens was on the sideline with the chance to tie the game last year, and they didn't go with him. So maybe he gets an opportunity to win it this year for New Canaan. Maybe, right or wrong in that story. But that's what you brought up a good point. You brought up Alex Benevento on the defense, a player that I just love watching play. I know you do too. Miles Chisholm, the big DT for New Canaan's defense, is just a wall. I'm telling you, you go watch that film against Wilton, that final drive where Wilton had a chance with a minute left, and Miles Chisholm was all over Joey Haggerty for 3 straight plays. Knocked him out of like a long field goal range, got them the ball back. They went to overtime. They won the game. Benevento is a star. Miles Chisholm is right up there in terms of potential first team all-state players. Just an absolute stud. That defense is so good, and no one makes adjustments better than New Canaan. So I'm going to go with the Rams in the generic Turkey Bowl. All right, we are going to the 10th game. We're almost at the halfway point. We have the 122nd meeting between Naugatuck. The Greyhounds are 9-0. They're going to Jarvis to play Ansonia. Fully charged up at 9-0. This game is always great. This game will, if the proposal doesn't go through for the expanded playoffs and get rid of Thanksgiving, it's going to be because of this game. Not really, but it's going to be the 2 loudest people are going to be about this game. This game is great. This game you could argue this game is Thanksgiving in Connecticut. It's just a special game. You want to add something, Sean? I know you do.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to... It's not always great. There have been some great moments. I mean, 94, 2010 was the Naugatuck finally winning. Then there was the one a couple years ago. They finally won again, breaking Ansonia's 10-year win streak against the NVL. And there's been plenty of great Ansonia performances over the years. You know, the running backs just going yard. There's also the great game. I think it was a year before. I think it was 2018 or 17. There's been some good wins. And yes, you are 100% correct. If it is going to be people like Mayor Cassetti, who's called, you can't lose Thanksgiving. Brockett's beating the drum, so that they're at the forefront of keeping Thanksgiving the capital of the Connecticut sports as far as days go. But anyway, should I go first, or is that you? Or are you going first?
I'll let you go first, but just quickly, Ansonia leads the series 77-35-10 in 10. And Ansonia has won 17 of the last 19 meetings. They lost, like you said, in 2010 and 2021. And that 2021 one was a real head-scratcher because Naugatuck actually came into that game 8-1 with a loss to Torrington.
Oh, yeah.
But Torrington ended up going to the M semifinals that year. So, anyway, but Sean, why don't you go first on this one? You've been there. You've covered this game before. Give us a little insight.
I actually have not seen Naugatuck this year. You have. And all I know is that Jed Hall is ridiculous. One of the best players in the state. And Ansonia's going to have their hands full stopping him. But Ansonia, at Jarvis, I have a hard time thinking against Ansonia. I know that's where Naugatuck beat him the last time. 2 years ago, they beat him there. Okay, granted. Ansonia is not, maybe not still not last year's team. We knew kind of going in that Ansonia was just rolling through people, Cassetti, and now it's a different cast of characters. Guy who really you should look out for is Preston Zabina, and was been playing great. Had a great game against Hawks. They need to get him into the mix, especially on defense. He's been pretty good. The D linemen, the linebackers. I mean, they're and Mackay Ingram and Richards, and I think there's just a lot more weapons on Ansonia than maybe Naugatuck. Whereas Naugatuck is just kind of like ride or die with Jet and let him do things and maybe get the other guys involved. That said, I'm just going to go with the Chargers. So there you go. Eddie Lego can rest easy. I've picked the Chargers. Okay.
I've only heard of Eddie. I've only heard the myth and the lore of Eddie Lego. So because of that, I'm gonna go with Naugatuck. Yeah. I think Jed Hall is one of the best players in the state, like you said. I think he is living up to the hype that we saw at the end of his sophomore year. Obviously got hurt last year. He is so dynamic. He can take over a game with the snap of his fingers. And I think they are going to feed him the ball. And look, I called him a quarterback with quotes on the meat grinder last week or this week. He can throw the ball too. All right. It's not a knock on him. He can throw the ball. He is a all-state player. He's just so good. I'm going with Naugatuck in this one. I think they win. I think they complete their perfect season 10-0. They're going to have a lot of trouble when they get to the playoffs. That's something we're going to talk about on next week's show. But I think Naugatuck wins this game this year. Now to Hamden for the 72nd Green Bowl. Notre Dame West Haven playing at Hamden. This game is always played at Joe Bruno Stadium. Notre Dame West Haven leads the series 47-22-2. Hamden won. His last two wins came in 2005 and then 2021. And then Notre Dame won last year. Notre Dame has basically owned this series the last 2 decades. But both teams kind of in a rebuilding year. Notre Dame's, we knew it was coming. They graduated a lot of players from the state championship team. Hamden, we thought was going to really be good. Then they lost their best player a week before the season. J.J. Gibson's been hurt. So it's kind of been a funky year for the Green Dragons. But this game is always so entertaining. despite what the series records show. I'm going to go first on this one. I'm going to go with Hamden. I really think that they're just a more complete, better team right now. I've seen Notre Dame this year. They're very young. Dominic Basti is a really good football player, but there's so much youth on that team. And this game, despite what the record shows, is going to be crowded. It's going to be a loud environment. I'm going to take Hamden with its more experienced roster in this game over Notre Dame. Sean, who do you like?
Just quickly, one of the all-time great games, for me at least, results I should say, that I've seen in the Green Bowl was 2002 when Jamison Davis, the game was snowed out, right? There was a big snowstorm the night before Thanksgiving, so they couldn't clear the field, so they had to come back on like a Friday to play the game. And the one game that did get played was Prep West Haven at Ken Strong Stadium, so we all went to that one. We went to that game because, Chris Everone is just an amazing guy. He's an amazing facilities director. So they had it cleared. So I went down there, and all the Hamden players were there, and there's Jamison Davis. And I said, "You ready to rock tomorrow?" He goes, "Are you going to put on a show?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, you watch. And sure enough, he did. And Notre Dame needed to get to the playoffs. They had Brad Listorti was one of their best players. He went to Rutgers. And they whipped on him. So that was an all-time great. And then I saw Jamison Davis. This is a whole roundabout way of me saying I got to see Jamison Davis at a UConn's opener this year. So it was amazing to see him. Went to Wisconsin, and awesome guy, great stuff. And in fact, actually, hang on one second. Here he is, Jamison Davis, for the Hamden Chronicle back in the day when he left early to go to Wisconsin. Early dismissal. I had that idea for that. See you later. Well, guys, there he goes. The old school Hamden Chronicle, man. January 15th, 2004. Oh, my God. Anyway, that's a roundabout way of saying I'm going to go with Hamden, too. Listen, it's kind of a rebuilding year for them, but I think they're just overall better. And I know this isn't the game that they always win, but I think Tom's got them pushing the right direction. They've won a lot more than than previous years. So I'm going to go with Hamden. I just think they're just a little bit better. I would not be shocked to see Notre Dame, make this one competitive. I'm going with the Green Jack.
All right. To the SWC, we're going down to Stratford, the home of the great Joe Morelli, as 1-8 Stratford goes on the road to play 6-3 Bunnell for the Manning E. Harvey Trophy. Bunnell leads the series overall 42-22. Bunnell has won the majority of them the last 2 decades, but Stratford did pull off the upset win in 2021, which was their first win since 2015. But this has really been all Bunnell. Sean, who do you like in this one? Can Stratford pull off the upset over Bunnell?
The short answer is no. I think Bunnell got playoffs in sight. They're looking at it. They think they have a great shot to get in. I agree. That which would be great for them. I just think, listen, that's a team that beat Hand. Start the year. It's been up and down since then. I only saw him once. I saw him in the rain. They put up a fight against Masuk, but that game kind of got away from him because of turnovers, and plus it was raining really hard too. So that is the further here. Now, speaking of Stratford, Bunnell, I got another blast from the past. How about this right here? Top Guns from 2006 before the state championship game. There's Torrey Mack and Steve Smith, the Bunnell quarterback. They won the state championship. They got beat by Holy Cross, but there it is at Sikorsky, one of my all-time favorite photos. And I think, who took it? It was Autumn Panett. It was Autumn Driscoll, so Eugene's wife from the Valley Indy. But there you go. Top Guns. Great shot. I love it. Absolutely great. And that was hard because usually they hate each other, Stratford and Bunnell. Hate. So that was before the state championship game, and we were able to get them together because they weren't playing anymore. But hey, there you go. That was actually the year that Bunnell lost to Stratford 40-8, and Craig Bruno did not think he was going to get into the playoffs. But then Aaron Hernandez and Bristol Central ended up tying Bristol Eastern. There's a little history for you, and Bunnell got in and went on to win the state championship. So there you go. Crazy. Anyway, I'm going with Bunnell.
All right. I'm going to go with Bunnell, too. Hopefully Joe Morelli has a great time at that game. All right, a couple more left. We got Bridgeport Central and Harding. They're playing for the 101st time. Last year was the Centennial, was a Harding win. Harding has won 8 straight in the series, and they lead the series overall 58-35. 38-4. I would love if Bristol Central could become a little bit more competitive and play in this game, and hopefully Coach Miller, Bridgeport Central, yes, will get, hopefully the program, continues to build under Coach Miller to get them to make this game a little bit more competitive. But until then, I'm going to go with Harding in this one. They're going to extend their streak to 9.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I covered Central during their great run under Dave Catalina, where for a decade they didn't lose to Harding, and it was just like, man, is Harding ever going to show up? I mean, obviously had some great players on Harding back then, like Byron the Bus Jackson, one of my all-time favorite players, who's still, the last I saw him, like last year or so, he was still playing out in Europe, which is crazy to me. But there's been some good Harding players over there and some great games. That great game, first game I ever saw in 2004 on the mud at the old Hedges Field. I'm so glad I got to see a part of that history here. But, that said, Central's really been struggling, and they're in a tough position because they need to get someone, I don't know, a longer-term coach with some consistency. Harding's the same deal. Both teams have had to get coaches, kind of last minute. So hopefully, best wishes to both those guys. I'm going with the Presidents. They've just been overall the better team this year, so it's kind of easy. Pete.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Harding too. I think I said that earlier before you picked anyway. So yeah, still going with Harding. All right, to Southington for the Apple Valley Classic. Cheshire 7-2 with their playoff hopes on the line.
Yep.
Going to Southington to play the 6-3 Blue Knights, who are already in the playoffs because they play in Double L, not in Double M. Southington leads the series 22-12, and get this, it was actually tied 12-12, and then Southington won 10 straight to take a 10-game lead in this series over Cheshire. I mean, Cheshire 7-2. They started 7-0. They moved all the way up to number 2 in the poll. They've lost 2 in a row. They have to win this game. And we don't know what the health of Matt Jeffrey will be. He has not played in the last couple of weeks. He has not really been a consistent player for them since mid-year, since the Fairfield Prep game. He's been out with a nagging hamstring injury. Quarterback Marsh is out, shoulder injury. Brewster, their leading tackler, missed the West Haven game. They had 2 other starters out. How healthy is Cheshire going to be in this game? Then you flip on the other side, and you got Southington. I mean, CJ DeBenedetto's having a great year. Throws a lot, but he puts up numbers. He's got 3 great receivers in Rashad Williams, Evan Anderson, and John Flynn. Here's the flip. Southington can't run the ball at all. I mean, they're amazingly might be worse at running the ball than Staples is. But they can throw the ball. And by running from the non-quarterback position for Staples. Okay? So they're going to have to throw the ball to beat Cheshire. I don't pick first on this one, so Sean, you get to go first.
Oh, man,
this game, Cheshire needs this game.
Yeah, they do. They need to win this game, and they haven't won in so long, and I have a hard time picking for them in this. You bring a lot of good points up about Southern. I mean, I've seen sometimes Southern, you scratch your head, you're like, man, what's going on here? I mean, they were in that they were in that Staples game, but Staples kind of just like torched them. But here's the thing, though. I think Cheshire offensively without Jeffrey, it's just Gonzalez running around. The quarterback situation, he got hurt beginning the North Haven game. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be available. I think it's done. So Jeffrey and all those guys out, I would love to pick Cheshire to win this game because I think they deserve to go to the playoffs. I really do. In fact, if Southington was down here in Class AA, they probably wouldn't be going. That's how ridiculous it is. And that's the problem with this playoff point situation. You're going to have strong divisions or you're not. And it's kind of all just arbitrary about what, not arbitrary, but it's all kind of luck of the draw where you end up. So that said, is Cheshire going to do this? I'm going to go with Southington. Maybe this will motivate Cheshire to make it a game. It's going to be a game, but I don't know. I think they're just run out of gas here, Pete.
You bring up Southington, and sometimes you see them and you scratch your head and you wonder, what is going on? This is a Southington team that jumped out to an early lead against Staples, and then Staples won by a lot. This is a Southington team that was up on Maloney and let them right back into the game. This is a Southington team that lost to Hall in a crazy rainstorm and then came out and threw for like 7 touchdowns in the first half. They're next week. What Southington team are we going to see? This is the same Southington team that lost in the first round to Cheshire, to Trumbull last year. Right? What Southington team are we going to see on Thursday? Now, Coach Drury can get these guys up for this Thanksgiving game. But, man, there's something that tells me something weird can happen.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm going to go with the Cheshire Rams. I think they are wildly more battle-tested than Southington. I mean, wild. It's not even close. They played West Haven to an 11-point game. Look, Southington's got many playmakers. I named them all. West Haven's got more.
Yeah.
And they kept that to, that was a 4-point game until a 92-yard punt return by Armani Reed. They fumbled the ball 6 times, and they still only lost by 11. I like Jeffrey Gonzalez. Evan Russo, he's got like 15 sacks this year. Like, give me Cheshire in this game. They're going to play one more game, maybe, but they're going to get in. I think they're going to win this game. They're going to go to the playoffs.
Think Jeffrey shows up? Think he's going to be there? I mean, not show up, you know what I mean. Come back.
Maybe. He hasn't dressed in the last 2.
Maybe this has all been a big
week off and a week in between. We see Matt Jeffrey, someone tweeted me, if we see Matt Jeffrey on Thanksgiving, I'll feel a lot better about my pick.
See, he was great last year's game. I mean, it was the first time I really got to see him. You know,
and he showed out 5 days later in the quarterfinal game.
Yeah, it was like a big coming out because they were kind of like up and down, right? Yeah, and he was great last year against Southington, and the game they probably should have won, to be honest with you. They didn't really secure that and go on, but now it's at Southington's place, so I'm going to go with the Knights. 8.
Yeah. All right. We are going to Hartford. This game is back for the second straight season after a little layaway. The 93rd Turkey Day game between Hartford Public and Weaver.
Turkey Day?
Turkey Day game. Yes, not to be confused with the Turkey Bowl. The teams played last year for the first time since 2013. Hartford Public won. They lead the overall series lead 49-34 and 4 ties. Weaver hasn't won since the fall of 2008, which, since I already dated myself, that was my freshman year of college. I was living in Chase Hall at Southington. All right, I'm gonna go with Hartford Public here. I'm glad Weaver's back. They need a little bit more consistency overall as a program, but I can see them competing in this game in a couple of years, just not right now. I'm going with Hartford Public.
Yeah, it's kind of an easy pick for me too. I mean, I find it very odd, and I know they don't have anywhere else right now, but that they're in the ECC. They did beat Montfield for the second straight year, so you know that's progress. But yeah, I mean, Hartford Public's been pretty good. I actually got to see a little bit of them on film against Plainville in that crazy 5 overtime game. They're clearly a better team. I think I'm going to go with the Owls.
All right, we are going to Bristol for the Battle of the Bell. Love that name. Bristol Central comes in. It's a great name. It's one of the best, if not the best, Thanksgiving rivalry name. Apple Valley Classic's very good too. Better than Turkey Bowl.
Yeah.
I really hate the Turkey Bowl name. I think that's so dumb.
Well, I think we should call it the Turkey Plate, right? For a lot of these teams. Are we in
turkey in a bowl?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
That's gross.
I mean, yeah.
All right, Battle of the Bell. Bristol Central 4-5 playing. They're at Muzzy. They're playing Bristol Eastern 6-3.
That's no bowl, by the way. That's no bowl. Muzzy Field. It's a baseball stadium.
I love the history. Bristol Eastern, though, 6-3. Bristol Central leads the series 38-23-2. And Bristol Central has won 7 in a row, including what I think was an upset win last year. Bristol Eastern was the better team a year ago. We all picked Bristol Eastern to win the game, right? Bristol Central graduated a lot of guys from their playoff team. And Bristol Central goes out and wins the game on Thanksgiving. Now, Bristol Eastern, 6-3. Jaden 4, 1,000 yards rushing this year for the Lancers. Sean, can Bristol Eastern break the streak and win this game and beat their rivals from Bristol Central?
This is Bristol Eastern's time. I just think they're due. It's been a long road back for them. It's been an outstanding season. Are they going to make the playoffs? Iffy, but you'll have no shot if you don't win this game. So that's kind of straight up at the top. It's going to be very fascinating, this one, because of Jack Hartley, who was on your side last year. Now he's playing against you and maybe trying to ruin your Thanksgiving. That's going to be fascinating. I mean, everyone's probably been talking about that for months. Don't know a whole lot about it, but I know he's been playing for Bristol Central, and last year was at Bristol Eastern. But Bristol Eastern has been very good all season long. They've been in a lot of good games. We'll see what happens to him, but I'm going to go with the Lancers.
All right. I, too, am going with the Lancers, like I said earlier. All right, we got 4 games left. These are all like Bristol and Hartford. Like, these are all city, same town games. We got the Stoddard Bowl, 8-1 Platt playing against 8-1 Maloney. They're at Falcon Field, so both their home fields, but Maloney will wear the home jerseys. Maloney leads the series 33-30-1 on Thanksgiving. If you count the playoff game from a couple of years ago, they lead them 34-30-1. Maloney has won 5 in a row. Overall, 4 in a row on Thanksgiving. Platt's last win came in 2018, but Maloney won the playoff game and then has won 4 straight playoff games. Platt, great season. They played Wilton early, played them pretty well, didn't get run off the field, and has gone out and beaten every team the rest of the way. A lot of new faces. Joel Ray has had a great season for the Panthers running the ball. And obviously Maloney, we've talked about a ton on this show. We talk about Dante Kelly a lot. But a guy like Jesus Martell is having an unbelievable season. 13 touchdown catches. He's got 6 in his last 3 games on 12 catches. He's caught 12 balls. 6 of them have gone to the end zone.
Don't mess with the Jesus.
When these two teams play, really the records get thrown out the window. I mean, they truly, everything's on the field. I've been at games where both teams have won. I've been at games, I've covered this game where the not as good team has won this game. I've been at this game where the better team has won. So really anything could happen in this game. Sean, who do you like in this one?
Pete, I'm going to go with Maloney in this one. The best player on the field, best 2 players on the field play for Maloney. That would be Dante Kelly and Jesus Martell. Both great receivers, both having fantastic years. Stoddard Bowl's always tough. It's going to be a tough game, regardless. I haven't seen Platt, and again, the Wilton would have been our opportunity to see him. In that division in the CCC, it's really tough. Like they're some pretty big wins there they've had this year to get into this position, but it's nothing like Maloney's schedule plays in Tier 1. They really get battle tested. In that sense, I'm going to go with the Spartans.
Yeah, I too am going to go with Maloney. I'm pretty sure I picked Platt at this game like every year just to play contrarian. But Maloney is so good this year. Watch, this will be the year that Platt wins. All right, we got 3 left. We are going to my town, the Rumble in Trumbull, which lacks all the interest that it has in past years. St. Joe's is 5-4. They're going to McDougal Stadium to play Trumbull, who is 4-5. Not a record we saw for either of these teams at the start of the season. This game has really lost a lot of its juice. Overall, the series is tied at 13 apiece, with St. Joe's winning 5 of them. As the person who lives in Trumbull and has been at this game the last couple of years, I'll go first, and I'm going to go quick. I'm just going to go with Trumbull here. I think they're going to get to 5-5. It's going to wrap up in what could have been season for Trumbull. Rowan Johnson's the best player on this field. He has had an amazing senior season. I think he caps it off with a big performance at home to get Trumbull to 5-5. And a lot of young guys on this team for Trumbull, so hopefully they'll use it to catapult into next season to get back to some winning ways. Sean, who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I'm actually shocked, but I'm going to go with Trumbull as well. Like I said, I think Rowan Johnson's had a very good season despite their struggles. St. Joe looks like it became quickly apparent that they've been kind of really building toward next year, especially with the quarterback going down early. And then they have the freshman in there who's been playing well, all things considered. Just not their year this year. I mean, because they win this game. Absolutely, they could win this game.
Yeah.
But I'm just, I'm just going to go with Trumbull. I think Trumbull, this is it wasn't the great season we thought that they would have, and we thought they would at least be in the running. They're only a couple wins. If you really look at it, they're only a couple wins out of if they maybe won one more game, they could have been in maybe in a little bit of a dogfight there for a double playoff spot. But as it is, they're going to have to go in, win the McDougal Trophy, and go into the offseason on a little bit of a high. Pete.
All right. 2 more. We got the Elm City Bowl. Hill House at Wilbur Cross. Hill House leads the Thanksgiving series 34-27-7. And the overall series against Wilbur Cross 61-32-8. Cross won last year in John Aquavita's final game coaching the Governors. Interesting, though, 2 first-year coaches, Walter Gibbs for Hill House and Alberto Cordova for Wilbur Cross, both played in this game when they were players for their respective schools that they coach. Sean, who do you like in this one?
Been a really interesting year for both schools in maybe not so great ways. I mean, obviously, Hill House really struggled offensively in certain spots, especially in that 2-0 loss to Bristol Eastern. That was a crazy game. But then they come up out of nowhere and beat Guilford, which is in a playoff race. And then Wilbur Cross is just a lot tougher situation there. They've not been great in a lot of these games, but who knows? Maybe seeing the side of your crosstown guys maybe gets your dander up a bit. I don't know. I'm going to go with the Academics. They had the better overall season to date, and I'm looking forward to seeing both these teams improve and getting the Elm City Bowl back into a top tier bowl, right? One of those teams.
Yeah, I love the name, the Elm City Bowl. It's a great name, and look, this is how I'm going to pick this game. Hill House has had a better season. They had the great win against Guilford. I think we both agree that both of the coaches who are leading these programs, this game is going to be really, really special soon. But I'm going to make this pick strictly on colleges. Coach Gibbs played and coached at Southern. Coach Cordera coached at UNH for a little bit. I don't like UNH. I went to Southern. So because of that, I'm going with Hill House. That's my one reason for going to Hill House. Go Owls. Okay? Sorry.
UNH won the conference, right?
Yeah, they haven't. Southern hasn't beaten them since I think I was a sophomore or a junior. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So I gotta pull one for my SCSU guys. All right, last one, the Carini Bowl.
Oh, your boys,
my boys. Sheehan at Lyman Hall. Sheehan has won 10 straight in this series, and Lyman Hall still leads it 26-24. So Sheehan 2 more wins and they tie it up. I'll go first here. I'm going to go with Sheehan. Lyman Hall is a product of their schedule, to say it nicely. Sheehan is playing better teams. They're competing against better teams. They have the better player on the field in Brady Versace. I mean, this kid, he's only a sophomore. We talked about him last year. We talked about him this year. He might go down as one of the best running backs in Sheehan history, which is saying something because Zach Davis, Jordan Davis, and Terrence Bogan all graduated from there. But I'm going to go with Sheehan in this one. Titans get one step closer to tying this overall series.
Yeah. Pete, I agree with you. I'm going with Sheehan. Here's the thing for the teams like Guilford and Lyman Hall and SEC Tier 3. Do what you got to do, but tell Al Carbone you got to get some better team games. Eliminate Tier 3. Let's do that. Let's start there. Because this Tier 3 is not helping you guys out. I mean, you maybe put you in playoff position, but then you get into a big game. You got to play some teams. Yeah, oh wow, this is what football looks like. I haven't played it all year, apparently. That's not to say that they haven't had a good season. I mean, they've been all right, but again, Sheehan is even in Tier 2, which it's kind of like where they should be, right? They've been pretty good. So they've a much better schedule than Lyman Hall. So I mean, like you said, Versace's just a player on the rise. Gorey's been good team, and they certainly have been in the battles of playing hand last week. So and that's never easy. So I'm going to go with Sheehan, and away we go. Who's going to win this Maha Bowl? They still play that?
Yeah, that should be played, I think, the night before or 2 days before, the day before. Thanksgiving? I'm not sure. I covered that a couple of times. Let me tell you that some years they get more fans at that game than they do the Caroni Bowl.
Yeah, which is wild.
They love that in Wallingford.
Yeah.
It's a great game in Wallingford. I've covered it a handful of times. I covered it the year it was too cold to have Thanksgiving games. And I remember there's a photo. Chris Daly took it, the then Sheehan athletic director. He's now at Woodland. They had these mechanical bikes under 10th. And at halftime, they all went into the locker room. I obviously couldn't go. It was cold. It wasn't like too freezing. But I remember I did like 2 miles on the mechanical bikes to stay warm during halftime.
The too cold, that just blows my mind. And of course, Brockett. It was too cold this week. Too cold. He goes, I know we said to Brockett, because everyone canceled the night before. They actually played the night before. What was this, 2017, right?
No, it was 2018.
2018.
Pat Maloney moved to Wednesday night. I went there, and it was colder that night than it was the next day.
Right. So it was frigid the night before, and everyone's freaking out. Oh, it's going to be so cold tomorrow. It was like once I went to Ansonia and Naugatuck, and it was once the sun was out, and it was like 20 degrees out. I mean, it's cold, but it wasn't like, It
was colder the night before in the dark.
Yes,
it was
nighttime. A whole different ball game, which a lot of the KPs and administrators freaking out didn't really understand. Everyone's yelling at us. What do you guys do? It's about safety, and it's like safety. This is 20 degrees out.
It was colder Wednesday night.
It was crazy. We said to Brockett afterward, to push the buttons on him. We're like, Tom, was there any thought to canceling this game? He goes, what? Would you cancel Thanksgiving?
I don't know, Tom. We might.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Well, they won't make any 20 degree game.
And the crazy thing was Friday, they played games that Friday, remember?
Yeah.
And I was at Wolcott Holy Cross, right? Because Wolcott needed to win to get in.
Yeah.
And Lee G had a great game for Wolcott. His brother or cousin went on to play at Holy Cross, but it was cold that day too.
Yeah.
Like, it was just going to be cold.
It's okay, guys. You're playing in...
Dude, I bought a weighted vest. I bought a heated vest. Things got
gloves on. I mean, look, sometimes we overdo it. Sometimes we overdo it.
No. Connecticut high school football never goes overcorrecting.
There was that game.
We never overcorrected with 8 divisions and 6 divisions with 8 teams and potentially 72 teams getting into the playoffs. No, we don't overcorrect here.
There was that game. What was that? That frigid game at Fairfield Prep at North Haven. It was one of the coldest games I've ever been to. Just ridiculously cold. And it was much colder at that game than it was on Thanksgiving.
Was that Columbus Day weekend?
Oh yeah, it'll be balmy and hey, that's a good Pete. That's a good argument for Columbus Day, Thanksgiving Day games. We won't have to worry about cold. Might have to worry about rain. Might have to worry about torrential rainstorms get postponed.
Ugh.
Oh geez.
All right. We done? We're gonna go cover some games on Thanksgiving.
Oh, let's go.
Do you want me to take us out? Do you want to take us out?
Pete, this is your gig. I don't know. Yeah, I mean.
All right, I'm Pete Paguaga for Sean Patrick Boley. Happy Thanksgiving. I love you all very much. Have a great holiday. We'll see you out on the field.
This has been the Meat Grinder Pick'ems podcast on GameTimeCT. Peace.